It's Teresa's birthday that I would play it because it's... So Teresa, it's not happy birthday, but it comes close. So this song is for you and happy birthday. Many, many more. This song is called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice in the restaurant, but Alice's Restaurant isn't the name of the restaurant, just the name of the song. That's why Arlo Guthrie has called this song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Well, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You gotta walk right in, it's around the back, just a half mile from the railroad track, and you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago, that's 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, when a friend of mine and myself decided to visit Alice up at the restaurant. But Alice doesn't live in the restaurant, she lives in the church in the bell tower nearby the restaurant, with her husband Ray and Fascia the dog. And living in the bell tower like that, they got a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be. And having all that room, seeing as how they took out all the pews, they decided they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. And we got up there and found the half-ton of garbage, and we decided that it would be a friendly gesture for us to take the half-ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus with the shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, haul it down to the city dump. Well, we got to the dump, and there was a chain across the dump and a sign on the chain that read, "This dump is closed on Thanksgiving." And we had never heard of a dump being closed on Thanksgiving before, and with tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. We never found one until we came to a side road, and off the side of the side road was a 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of that cliff was another half-ton of garbage, and we decided that one big pile was better than 2 little piles, and rather than bring that oven up, we decided to throw ours down, and that's what we did. Went to church, have a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep and didn't get up till the next morning. We got a phone call from Officer Roby. He said, "Kid, found your name on an envelope at the bottom of half-ton of garbage. I was wondering if you had any information leading to it." "Yes, sir, Officer Roby, I could not tell a lie. I put that envelope there." It was after speaking to Obi for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we arrived at the truth of the matter, and he said that we had to go down and see him at the police officer station. Now, friends, there was only 1 or 2 things that Obi could have done to us at the police officer station. And the first was that he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest over the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. Second possibility is that he could have bawled us out and told us never to speed driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when he got to the police officer station, there was a third possibility that we hadn't even counted upon. And we was both immediately arrested, handcuffed. And I says, "Obi, I can't very well pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid, and get in the back of the patrol car." So that's what we did. We got in the back of the patrol car and drove to the, quote, "scene of the crime," unquote. I want to tell you about this town in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. There they got 2 police officers, 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there were 25 police officers, 10 police cars, 17 police dogs. It being the biggest crime of the last 15 years, and everybody wanted to get into the newspaper stories about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment they had lying around the police officer station there. They was taking footprints, fingerprints, fast tire prints. They took a picture of the approach, the getaway, northwest corner, the southwest corner, the aerial photography, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. We got back to jail and Obie was going to put us in the cell. He said, "Kid, I'm going to put you in the cell. I want your belt and your wallet." And I says, "Obie, I can understand you wanting my wallet, but I don't have any money to spend in the cell there. But what do you want my belt for?" I said, "Kid, we don't want any hangings." And Obie, I said, "You think I was going to hang myself for littering?" And Obie said he was just being sure. And friends, Obie was. He took out the toilet seat so I couldn't bang myself over the head and drown. He took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars, throw the toilet paper out the window, and slide down the road and have an escape. And it was about 4 or 5 hours later there with Alice. Remember Alice? There's a song about Alice. Alice came down and bailed us out. Had a few nasty words for Obie on the side there. We drove back to church, had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat. Went to sleep and didn't get up till the next morning. We all had to go to court. So we walked in, sat down. Obie came in, sat down with the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with the circles and arrows and paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. Man came in, said all rise. We stood up. Obie stood up. And the judge walked in with a seeing-eye dog. Obie looked at the judge, looked at the seeing-eye dog, looked at the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. Obie put his head in his hands, began to cry, because Obie realized that it was a typical case of blind justice and there was nothing anybody could do about it. The judge, he wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs, the circles and arrows, paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. But we had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage in the snow. But that's not what I came to tell you. I came to talk about political correctness. Things that you're really not allowed to say, but you'd kind of like to go ahead and say anyway. They got a building down there in New York City called Whitehall Street, where you walk in, you get inspected, detected, neglected, selected. And I went there to get my physical one day so I could serve my country. And I got in good shape. I worked out consistently, ate my vitamins and my health food. I wanted to be in good shape. And before I went there, I stopped into a Starbucks. I had a couple of espresso. I walked in the building, and I was decked out. I was wired, I was fired, I was charged and ready, because I wanted to look like the all-American kid. I had my black leather jacket, cowboy boots. I even went to the Ray Wiley Hubbard website. I got a t-shirt that says, "Screw you, I'm from Texas." Attitude plus. I saluted a couple of military officers before I went in there, and they saluted me back. They thought to themselves, "Man, what the hell is up with him?" walked in there. I walked right into the psychiatrist's office. I said, Shrink, I want to kill. He said, what? I said, I want to kill. I've had it with what's going on. I want to express how I really feel. I want to jump up and down and scream, kill. And he started jumping up and down, screaming, kill. I went, kill. And then we started doing our best Clint Eastwood. He started going, yeah, you feel lucky, kid? And I said, yeah, I feel lucky. He says, how lucky do you feel, kid? And I said, damn lucky. I really told him what was on my mind, and he really didn't like what I had to say. But we started raising a commotion until the sergeant came over, pinned a minute on me, set me down the hall, said, you're our boy. I was there for 3 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. And I was there for a long time where they was inspecting, neglecting, selecting every single part of me, and there wasn't one part untouched. I had to walk up to see the last person, fill out all my forms. He looked at me and he said, you know, Rob, you're our kind of guy. We really want you to be working for our country. We just got one question. Have you ever been arrested? Well, I proceeded to tell him the story about the Alice's Restaurant Massacre. He said, stop it right there, Rob. I just want to ask you something. Have you ever been to court? Well, I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with the circles and arrows. He said, stop it right there, Rob. I want you to go sit down by the bench that's marked Group W. I said, I've been here all day. Come on, he said. Rob, I'm just doing my job. Because I had to go sit by the bench that was marked Group W. Group W is the bench where they send you where you may not be moral enough to join the Army, or the National Guard, or even the Reserves. There was all kinds of questionable people sitting on the Group W bench. Serial killers. Father stabbers and sister rapers. There was sister rapers sitting right there on the bench next to me. And the meanest, nastiest, ugliest one of them all was coming over to me, and he was scary. He was like 6 feet in both directions. He sat down beside me. He said, kid, what'd you get? I said, I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage. He says, no, what were you arrested for, kid? And I said, littering. And they all moved away from me on the bench there, the hairy eyeball. All kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, until I said, and creating a nuisance, and they all came back, shook my hand. We had a grand old time talking about crime, father stabbing, sister raping, until the sergeant came over, had a piece of paper in his hand. He said, kid, this piece of paper's got 10,000 words, 700 sentences, 59 paragraphs. We don't know the time of the crime, the place of the crime, and anything else that you got to say about the crime, and all witnesses pertaining to the crime. And he talked for about 25 minutes, and no one understood the single word that he said. But we had a fun time filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the desk there. And I filled out my form of the Alice's Restaurant Massacre with full orchestration and 5-part harmony. And I gave everything in perfect detail. I put my pencil down, turned my paper over, and there on the other side, at the bottom of the page, away from everything else on the other side in parentheses, it said, kids, have you rehabilitated yourself? And I walked over to the sergeant and I said, Sergeant, you got a lot of damn gall asking me if I've rehabilitated myself. I'm sitting here on the bench. I mean, I'm sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm on the ball enough to join the Army after being a litter bug? You know I don't like what's going on in this world. You tell me I'm not allowed to say anything. And he said, son, I feel the same way you do. But you can't sometimes say everything that is on your mind. And I know it's hard. Well, I said, Sergeant, if I can't say what's on my mind, if not now, when? And if not us, who? Sergeant took me into a room and he said, son, it's a battle that you're gonna have to fight another day. We're all gonna have to fight it some other day. But we're gonna keep your name on file. And friends, somewhere in Washington, in some dusty filing cabinet, photos in black and white of my fingerprints, name, rank, and serial number. And the only reason I'm singing you this song is because you might know somebody who's in a similar situation, or you may be in a similar situation. And if you're in a situation like that, there's only one thing you can do. And that's walk into the psychiatrist's office, wherever you are, and go shrink. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant and walk out. You know, if one person does that, just one person, they're liable to think he's crazy and they'll just ignore him. And if two people do it, two people a day walk into the psychiatrist's office, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant and walking out, well, they say, God almighty, the people are like 35 years too late. And they're going to wonder, well, who really is the crazy one? But if you do what they do in Japan or New York City, you take to the streets and 100,000 people occupying Wall Street and singing a bar of Alice's restaurant. Friends, they might think it's a long overdue movement, and that's what it was, and that's what it is, and what it's going to be, is the Alice's Restaurant Anti-Massacre movement. And all you got to do to join is sing it the next time it comes around on the guitar with feeling. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Couldn't hear a word. Here it comes again. All together. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. One more time. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You gotta walk right in, it's around the back, just a half mile from the railroad track, and you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy birthday, Teresa.
Thanks again, everybody, for calling there.